Opening tonight for a special two-night engagement here on the stage at ASU Gammage is the Broadway musical Fela. And to talk about it, to tell us a little more, is one of its stars, and I want to make sure I get the list right here. Singer, songwriter, dancer, record producer, one-time morning show host on a London radio show.
Yeah, I know, right?
And, of course, one-third of the famous Destiny's Child is Michelle Williams.
Hello.
What a pleasure to talk to you.
A pleasure to talk to you as well.
I was wondering, just to start the conversation, obviously you have a huge fan club who probably only know you for the one area, and that's the music of Destiny's Child. Do you find they're constantly surprised to find that you have a Broadway background?
Some are, but then some aren't, because if most of the time they know I grew up in the arts in school, so theater had to obviously be one of them.
How did Fela come your way? I know you've talked about Broadway. You were in Chicago, in London, Aida, of course, and now you're traveling in this show.
And here in The Color Purple, we were here at the Gammage,
Color, and I saw it, and it was terrific. But so how did Fela come your way?
Fela came my way. I got a phone call from my agent because I was reading for another Bill T. Jones production that he's producing. But they said, in the meantime, could I come on and tour with Fela? And I'm like, absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I would love to do that. Because I had seen Fela in London on its opening night. I saw it on Broadway. And it was something that I was sitting there like, wow, this would have been really cool to be a part of.
All right. Now, you play the part of Sandra.
Yes.
Right? Who is Sandra? How does she come into it?
I play the role of Sandra Isidore, an amazing woman who actually still is living, who resides in Los Angeles, California. She was someone that was really, really a strong black woman who introduced Fela to black consciousness, and how she even got tied up in that. She happened to visit the South one summer for vacation to visit her family, and coming from Los Angeles, she had no idea that black people had to go to the back or to the side door of a theater, and that they had to sit in the balcony. But she was excited to sit in the balcony, but she never knew, oh my God, this is wrong. And from that's what sparked everything in her. And when she met Fela came to Los Angeles one year, and someone told her that you have to meet Fela. So she went to his concert and was absolutely blown away. They met. They talked and realized that they kind of had some of the same problems going on in Nigeria here in America. But one thing, she was upset at him because about a song, and he was talking about soup. And she was like, why are you talking about soup? And that's what kind of helped, she helped him to politicize his music and to actually really talk about something other than soup. Nothing is wrong with soup. Nothing's wrong with soup.
Now, I did hear from one critic that said that the songs, the music, the dancing actually gets in your blood. Is that how you feel about it?
It does get in your blood. I know there are a couple scenes that I am not in that are my favorites, and I just stand on the side of the stage each night just to get myself going. So, and the guy playing Fela, his name is Adeshola Osakalumi, who's absolutely brilliant, and he's here today. I don't know if you would mind us.
Bring him on.
We should bring our leading man.
I could ask him the same question.
Yes,
actually.
yes. Good morning, darling.
My goodness.
This is a day, is it?
Yes.
Nice to meet you. I just asked Michelle about the music that one critic actually said it gets in your blood, the singing and dancing. Is that the same for you?
Absolutely. It's like someone takes a needle and just gives it to you directly. It's an incredible show. It's an incredible evening of music, of dance. Fela's message, which was his struggle, his fight against oppression, his fight against injustice, and it's a lot of fun.
Is every night a workout for the both of you?
Well,
absolutely.
It is a workout, but God bless him. So the show is like 2.5 hours. He's on stage for like 2 hours and 27 minutes. Seriously.
Yeah.
And that's just to get off and enjoy you for a few seconds.
Exactly. I sit back and watch her, and I'm
He gets to take a sip of water.
Yes.
He gets to take a sip of water, and then we have intermission. But then again, he's like on stage from top to bottom. This man right here is what, to me, carries the show, the focus of the show. He makes me better. He just raises the bar he ought to raise the bar for everybody. I believe he does, but for me personally, he raises the bar for me.
The show started its tour. I think it was in January, wasn't it? So you must be in the middle of the tour now. Yeah. Do you have breaks in between cities, or is it at the moment this the kind of tour where you're literally jumping from city to city?
We just had a break, a short week off here from Tucson, where we last performed. Right. But normally we run pretty straight.
Really? Right, is it if you've had that break, is it difficult on the first night to get back into the swing, or is there that moment of adjustment?
When we did Tucson, that show was amazing. I think everybody was like, yes.
Well, you know what? The rest helps, right? So people come back with a lot of energy because we've had a rest. Right. But I think sometimes the rest can also be maybe a little hindrance because it takes a while to get that motor back to the high level it was before we took the break.
Sure. Now, I think this question might be more for you, Michelle, but we'll find out. We'll find out. I once talked to a singer off mic, and I won't mention his name, but he said that even though he got his opportunity on a Broadway show, because he was so used to being in command of his own career, telling himself what to do, suddenly having to take direction from someone else, he found very difficult. Has that ever been a problem for you?
Well, I've mentioned that before because people say, well, what's the difference? Well, this stage is not my stage. Yeah. Normally when I'm touring, I paid for the set, the crew that's putting the stage up, so you can't tell me where to be. But with this show, and I've had other many shows where they say if you don't stand on number 2, this scrim is going to come down, and if you don't move, you're going to knock your head off. So either you can move off 2, or just
knock your head off.
Or knock your head off. Right. Which one would you like? So, I mean, and they are, right? I mean, being directed, being told notes every single day. You're like, but this is the way I want to do it. No, but this is the way it was directed. This is the way it was written. And it's like, okay, you humble yourself and you do it.
You do it. And probably you're surprised that it works a little more.
Well, and it also teaches me, too, that, less is more. Yeah. Sometimes the stillness of what you do has a great impact.
Well, another thing I've found from talking to other actors, even no matter how big they are still starstruck when they meet someone else who's famous. And maybe you could say, what was it like when first meeting Michelle? Were you still starstruck?
Oh, okay. Well, no. When, you see this banter we have? Yeah. When I first met Michelle, I didn't really know what to expect. I mean, I've known, of course, of her work prior with Destiny's Child and her musical theater work. So I knew she was more than a pop artist, because a lot of people, I think, they feel, well, she's a pop artist, she won't have the chops to do this kind of work. And Michelle, from day one, I think our first conversation might have been something like, hey, Michelle, I'm like, hey, Ade, how you doing? Hey, just open, just really friendly. So, and we continue to be the same way all the time.
I mean, even when we're off, we're texting each other, we're tweeting, we're just, having a blast.
She calls me incessantly. Sometimes I really
He has to turn his ringer
off.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
When my number pops up on his phone, it says, do not answer.
That's terrific. Well, it is fun to work with people that you enjoy working with anyway. London audiences, of course, knew that you, Michelle, were a dancer because you did the equivalent of what do we call it here?
Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars, and in Britain it's Strictly
really
Come Dancing.
There.
But you had Len Goodman and Bruno, who are the same judges. Were they kind to you?
No, they were not.
They loved you.
No, they were not. They had very high expectations, and so what I wanted them to know, I mean, when you're doing pop music, sometimes we're not focused on if your toe is pointed, if you're doing a drive with your heel. Like, we just dance, and it comes from our soul. Even with Fela, I mean, I don't know if toes have to be pointed on
Not
every.
Necessarily,
you know what I mean?
It's a different aesthetic.
Bruno, Lynn.
I don't know the other judges.
Craig.
Oh, okay.
They probably sit here and they would love the feeling, but they probably be like, oh my God, her shoulders were up. Oh my God, her toes weren't pointed, and it's like, that's not what this is.
That wasn't what you expected.
That's not. Hey, guess what? I've gotten this far without having to point my toes, so I'm good.
Well, I need to.
You know what I mean? But you have a great arch, though.
Thank you.
He's an amazing, we don't even get to see how amazing he is with dancing and everything because Fela does not do a lot of dancing.
Except with her.
Amazing.
But audiences will find out tonight and tomorrow what you can do.
But before you became the lead, you were in the ensemble.
I was in the ensemble,
all the dance.
I was understudy, so I danced a lot and danced and jumped and
Well, local Valley audiences will be able to find out for themselves both tonight and tomorrow. Fela, 2 nights at ASU Gammage. My thanks to Ade, to Michelle Williams,
Yes.
and best of luck with the oncoming album as
Thank
well.
you very much.
Right.
Appreciate
It's been a pleasure talking
it.
to
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Take